The ideal wine for Thanksgiving dinner? It's complicated.
The ideal wine for Thanksgiving dinner is complicated.
For many of us who love to cook and host on Thanksgiving, one central mystery remains. What?
For many of us who love to cook and host on Thanksgiving, one central mystery remains: what to pour.
To pour. Before I turn to the experts, I'll offer up 3 things I do know about wine on this holiday.
Before I turn to the experts, I'll offer up 3 things I do know about wine on these holidays. Before I turn to the experts, I'll offer up 3 things I do know about wine on this holiday.
1. You don't want to run out.
1. You don't
2.
want to run out.
Opinions vary on what tastes
What
delicious.
tastes delicious.
3.
3.
Do not
Do
make
not
yourself
make yourself
crazy by trying to pair individual wines with individual courses. I like to put out an assortment of bottles and let the wine.
I'd like to put out a sort of bottles and let the wine goers
God speak to the guests as they like.
However,
Paul Greco, manager at the New York wine bar Terrier, does think about pairings, but in a loose fashion. Let's acknowledge that the foods that generally share space on the Thanksgiving plate, while super yummy, are generally not things we would put together if we were truly being thoughtful about things, he says. And by things, I mean, do they work with the same wine?
So,
what to drink with all that? Rico is devoted to Riesling, a generally perfumey white wine, and thinks Thanksgiving dinner is a perfect time to use it. He chooses U.S. wines for this American holiday, recommending Rieslings from the coasts, specifically New York State, Washington, Oregon, and California. Also, Josh Wesson, partner and wine director at Suprema Provisions in New York City, said, "Stop fretting over wine and food matching. Given the
Also, Josh Wesson, partner and wine director at Suprema Provision in New York City, said, "Stop fretting over wine and food matching.
wild riot of flavors and textures on the Thanksgiving table, it's wiser to forego precise pairings in favor of supple,
Given the wild riot of flavors and textures on the Thanksgiving table, it's wiser to forego precise pairing in favor of supple, easy drinking bottles that play well with a wide range of foods.
easy drinking bottles that play well with a wide range of foods." He also said, "At this most boisterous of holiday meals, the real stars are the food, friends, and family."
Easy drinking bottles that play well with a wide range of foods. He also said, at this most boisterous of the holiday meals, the real stars are the food, friends, and family. Also, Josh Wilson, partner and wine director at Supermarket provisions in New York City said stop fighting over wine and food matching. Given the wild riot of flavors and textures on the Thanksgiving table, it's wiser to forego precise pairings in favor of supple, easy drinking bottles that play well with a wide range of foods. He also said, at this most boisterous of holiday meals, the real stars are the food, friends, and family. The ideal wine for Thanksgiving dinner is complicated. For many of us who love to cook and host on Thanksgiving, one central mystery remains: what to pour. Mystery or me. Something strange or not known, what has not yet been explained or understood. It's a mystery to me. Mysterious. Before I turn to the experts, I'll offer up 3 things I do know about wine on this holiday. 1. You don't want to run out. 2. Opinions vary on what tastes delicious. Do not make yourself crazy by trying to pair individual wines with individual course 菜 run out 用完耗尽 to finish use or sell all of some things. You so that there is none left. My patience is beginning to run out. 我的耐心开始耗尽了。Run out of some 接及物短语接宾语 They have run out of ideas. Pair 配对成对 to make something one of a pair or to become one of a pair. Pair somebody off. I managed to pair my best friend Sue off with Mike. I managed to pair my best friend Sue off with Mike. Course 课程 any of the separate parts of a meal. What do you want to eat for your main course? Course pair run out. I like to put out an assortment of bottles and let the wine gods speak to the guests as they like. Put out 放出来，把什么什么准备放好备用。If you put out things that will be needed, you place them somewhere ready to be used. Put out to spend money. I'll be putting a lot of money out when I buy my house. I'll be putting a lot of money out when I buy my house. Assortment. A group of different types of something. An assortment of all manner of. An assortment of vegetables. Assortment. A group of different types of something. An assortment of 各种各样的。All manner of 不同风格的 an assortment of vegetables. However, Paul Greco, manager at the New York Wine Bar Terrier, does think about Paris, but in a loose fashion. However, Paul Greco, manager at the New York Wine Bar Terrier, does think about Paris, but in a loose fashion. However, Paul Greco, manager at the New York Wine Bar Terrier, does think about pairing, but in a loose fashion. Loose 不受约束的、自由的 not firmly held or fastened in place. The sheep had got out and were loose on the road. Have a loose tongue. 尤其只对于隐私多嘴多舌。In a fashion. 以什么什么的方式 in a particular way, in a fashion. He might think highly himself, but he is only right in a fashion if you ask me. Let's acknowledge that the foods that generally share space on the Thanksgiving plate, while super yummy, are generally not things we would put together if We were truly being thoughtful about things, he says, and by things I mean do they work with the same one? Thoughtful, 慎重考虑的，深思熟虑的。Careful considering things. It's a very thoughtful person. Thoughtless, 不善解人意的。Yummy, yummy, yummy, yummy. Let's acknowledge that the foods that generally share space on the Thanksgiving plate while super yummy are generally not things we would put together if we were truly be thoughtful about things, he says, and by things I mean, do they work with the same one? 开头为祈使句 Let's acknowledge 让我们承认，后面为 that 接 that 引导的宾语从句，第二个 that 为关系代词引导定语从句，修饰 the foods。所以上半句话的意思是我们得承认，一般来说这些感恩节大餐的食物每一盘都非常美味。后半句中的 We would put together if we were truly being thoughtful about things 是定语从句修饰前面的先行词 things， 其中引导词 that 被省略，在这个定语从句中后面 if 是引导的条件状语从句。So what to drink with all that? Greco is devoted to Riesling, a generally perfumed white wine. Be devoted to, as thinks Thanksgiving dinner is a perfect time to use it. He chooses U.S. wines for this American holiday, recommending Rieslings from the coast, specifically New York State, Washington, Oregon, and California. Be devoted to. Mother is devoted to dad, although they squabble all the time. Also, Josh Wesson, partner and wine director at Super Provisions in New York City, said, "Stop fighting over the wine and food matching. Given the wild riot of flavors and texture on the Thanksgiving table, it's wiser to forego precise pairing in favor of supple, easy drinking bottles that play well with a wide range of foods." He also said, at this most boisterous of holidays means the real shares are the foods, friends, and family. Also, Josh Wesson, partner and wine director at Super Provisions in New York City, said, "Stop fighting over wine and food matching. Given the wild riot of flavor, fret, 苦恼. To be nervous or worried, fret over about something." She spent the day fretting about what she'd said to Nicky, given 考虑到鉴于 knowing about or considered a particular thing. Given his age, he's a remarkable fast runner. Riot 品种繁多 a collection of a lot of different types of the same thing. A riot of color. The garden was a riot of color. The garden was a riot of color. Texture 口感。The way food or drinking tastes or feels in your mouth. For example, whether it is rough, smooth, light, heavy, etc. The two cheeses were very different in both taste and texture. forego 放弃 forego to give up or do without. Many signs forego pleasure and self-care for the jobs are care. Supple bending or able to be bent easily, not stiff. Flexible, I'm not supple enough to touch the floor. I'm not supple enough to touch the floor. Boisterous, noisy. Boisterous, noisy, energetic, and rough. Boisterous children, boisterous game. The audience burst into boisterous laughter. Given the wild riot of flavors and textures on the Thanksgiving table, it's wiser to forego precisely Given the wild riot of flavors and textures on the Thanksgiving table, it is wiser to forego precise pairing in favor of supple, easy drinking bottles that play well with a wide range of foods. Given 引导原因状语从句，意义为鉴于考虑到，后面主句中 it 为先行主语，后代表后移的不定式。To forego precise pairing 放弃精确的搭配 in favor of a wide range of这句话的意思就是选择这种单宁柔和容易下口。Play well with a wide range of foods. The ideal one for Thanksgiving dinner is complicated. For many of us who love to cook and host on Thanksgiving, one central mysterious remains what to pour. Mystery. It's a mystery to me, mysterious. Before I turn to the experts, I'll offer up 3 things I do know about wine on this holiday. You don't want to run out. 2. Opinions vary on what tastes delicious. 3. Do not make yourself crazy by trying to pair individual wines with individual costs. Run out. To finish, use or sell off things so that there is none left. My patience is beginning to run out. 我的耐心开始耗尽了。Run out 及物动词接宾语。They have run out of ideas. Pair. To make something one of a pair. Pair somebody off. I managed to pair my best friend Sue off with Mike. Pair. Run out of. Course 课程讲座 What do you want to eat for your main course? I like to put out an assortment of bottles and let the wine goers speak to the guests as they like. I like to put out an assortment of bottles and let the wine goers speak to the guests as they like. Put out. If you put out things that will be needed, you place them somewhere ready to be used. Put out 花钱 to spend money. I'll be putting a lot of money out when I buy my house. Assortment 各种各样的 an assortment of. All manner of. A group of different types of something. Assortment of vegetables. However, Paul Greco, manager at the New York wine bar Terra, does think about Paris, but in a loose fashion. loose, not firmly held or fastened in place. The sheep had gone out and were loosened on the road. Loose 不受约束的 have a loose tongue in a fashion in a particular way in a fashion 勉强马马虎虎 He might think highly of himself, but he is only a writer in a fashion, if you ask me. Let's acknowledge that the foods that generally share space on the Thanksgiving plate, while super yummy, are generally not things we would put together if we were truly being thoughtful about things, he says, and by things I mean, do they work with the same wine? Thoughtful, 慎重考虑的，深思熟虑的，善解人意的。She is a very thoughtful person. Thoughtless, careful considering things. Let's acknowledge that the foods that generally share space on the Thanksgiving plate, while super yummy, are generally not things we would put together if we were truly being thoughtful about things. So what to drink with all that? Greco is devoted to Riesling, a general perfume white wine, and thinks Thanksgiving dinner is a perfect time to use it. He chooses U.S. wines for this American holiday, recommending Riesling from the coast, specifically New York State, Washington, Oregon, and California, be devoted to. 致力于 Mother is devoted to dad, although they squabble all the time. To giving all the something, especially your time, effort, to love, you to yourself, to something you believe in, or to a person. Also, Josh Wesson, partner and wine director at Suprema Provisions in New York City. Stop fretting over wine and food matching. Given the wide riot of flavors and textures on the Thanksgiving table, it's wiser to forego precise pairing in favor of supply, easy drinking bottles that play well with a wide range of foods. He also said at this most boisterous of holiday Fogo, supple, 柔软的 flexible, boisterous, noisy, energetic, and rife, a boisterous children, a boisterous game. The audience burst into boisterous laughter.